Tav X Hebrews, purity and becoming one. Hit the like button on your way in the door. Okay, we're gonna finish up the second part of this video we was listening to a couple of days ago about energy and vibrations. We're gonna do part two right now, but we're gonna give it a couple of minutes to see if any brews gonna come up in here. So y'all hit the like button on your way in the door. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, Hebrew. Okay? And we always give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Today is no different. Hit the like button. We're gonna give it a few minutes to see if any of our brothers and sisters coming up in here. And then we're gonna listen to part two about how to manipulate vibrations. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Now we're just gonna wait a while to see if any brews make it up in here. You know what I mean? Hit the like button, Hebrew. Hope everybody had a good day today. Hope you're still having a good evening right now, fam. Dang. Next, Hebrews, purity and becoming one. How do we become pure? We got to turn to the Most High and Him only. Nobody else. That's the only way out, fam. Hit the like button on your way in the door. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We doing part 2, how to manipulate vibrations. Everything that you ever have seen the whole time you've been alive has a vibration. Everything runs off a vibration. You run off a vibration. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys run off of vibrations. Everything is vibrating, family. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to finish up the video we was watching like 2 days ago. We're going to finish it up today. We got like 40 more minutes to go. We're going to listen to it in about a couple of more minutes. We usually get started at about the 10-minute mark. We like to give any of our family a chance that can make it to get up in here so that we can watch this and listen to it together, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get started at the 10-minute mark, family. Tav X to everybody. Purity and becoming one. Peace, blessings, love, and safety to the 12 tribes of Israel who has been scattered into all nations for the disobedience of our forefathers and our continued disobedience till this day. This is an Old Testament only channel, a Torah Tanakh only channel. We serve the Most High God and Him alone. We don't entertain any other deity, any other idol around here. We got Brother J.R. Meadows in the building. Brother J.R. Meadows says 40 minutes. Well, that's all I asked, broski. What's good, Brother J.R. Meadows? Always good to see you, fam. Always good to see all of y'all up in here. Whoever you are, wherever you are. J.R. Meadows says NEG in 93. LOL. For those of y'all who don't know, that's a DMV thing, right? Y'all heard of Go-Go before. NEG is a go-go band. Well, was a go-go band back in them times called Northeast Groovers. Northeast standing for Northeast. For the out-of-town people who don't know, when they say Northeast, talking about Northeast Washington, D.C. NEG was a band, a go-go band called Northeast Groovers. If you're from D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, of course, we all know about Northeast Groovers. Backyard, Junkyard, Red Essence, and all kind of other bands as such. You feel me? Shout out to you, J.R. Meadows. And shout out to the whole DMV out there. You feel me? We're going to get started in like another minute, family. Make sure you like this video so it will help other people to see it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And if you don't know what kind of channel this is the kind of channel where we only serve, worship, glorify the God of the Old Testament, Yahweh. Some people call him Yahuwah. Some people call him Yah. Some people call him the Most High. That's the one who we rock with over here. We believe in him. We serve him. Try our best to keep his commandments and to try to tell other brothers and sisters about him and help them to get to know the commandments as well. If you don't know anything about any of this stuff that we talk about over here, the very first thing you need to do, you need to start reading the Old Testament. You need to learn the Most High God's laws, learn his commandments, and that's how you will be able to decipher. Once you get an understanding of the Most High's laws, you will be able to basically go into any sector. You'll be able to pick up any book, regardless whether you ever heard of the book or not, regardless whether it's canonized or not, regardless whether people believe in that book or not. You will be able to pick that book up, go through it, and you will be able to see which parts you can keep and what parts need to be thrown out. Because once you understand the Most High's laws, that's how you measure up. Whatever you're going to be going into, whatever topic you're going to be discussing, whatever genre you're going to be involving yourself with, whatever that might be. If it's biblical stuff, spiritual stuff, whatever, anything pertaining to God, the invisible realm, spirit realm, any of that. Once you have a background in the laws of the Most High, you will know how to move. You will know how to navigate. Okay? There are going to be many different times where you might come across topics, subject matters, or situations, and you might say to yourself, I'm not quite sure how to treat this particular situation, whatever it might be. I'm gonna tell you how you figure out which way to go concerning any kind of spiritual situation you got going on. Look, I'll use right now for what we got going on. As of lately on this channel, it's been a lot of talk about spiritual power. A whole lot of talk about spiritual power because that's what we on right now. Different seasons, different times, we go into different things. And right now, there's a heavy season and a heavy spirit for us to go into spiritual power. I don't know if y'all just heard that or not. That was sound confirmation in the background. I don't know if y'all heard that, right? Because we've never really been down this road to this magnitude. None of Israel has, at least not in the last 2,000 years. Israel has not gone into spiritual power. So now that we are going into that, it can be a very tense topic. And that's whether you're yay or you're nay about any particular part of that. Here's how we know. Here's how we know. I'm about to read it to you. Here's how we know. And this is how you should check yourself too. Whenever you got questions about whatever you're doing concerning the Most High, concerning the law, concerning spirituality, concerning rituals, anything of a spiritual nature, you want to know how to make sure whether or not it's okay or it's not okay, here's what you do. Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. To the law and to the testimony. That's the Old Testament, y'all. So this is how I get down. And I have to hold myself accountable, and every man or woman out there has to hold themselves accountable. If you got questions about anything, can I do this? Should I not do this? Is this evil to do this? Is this a sin to do this? Anytime that you think something is wrong or it's a sin to do, you have to be able to go into the Old Testament, into the law, and you have to find a commandment forbidding you to do whatever it is that you're questioning about. That's how you figure it out. If there is no law on any particular, because there are thousands and thousands of different scenarios that could arise for you to even say, you know what, I think I might be committing a transgression. Go and look in the law. If there's a law against it and you're breaking that law, then that will mean you're in transgression. But if there's not a law against whatever situation you may find yourself questioning, then how can you say that it's a transgression? And like I said, this could be 1,000 different situations. Only you know what you got going on in your life, Hebrew. Only you know what kind of questions you have about any particular topic that you may be engaging in. If you're feeling off about it, ask yourself, am I breaking the law? You will have to go and find a law that says thou shalt not, whatever it is you got going on. Okay, I don't know. Only you know. If there is not a law saying thou shalt not this or thou shalt not that, then you will be good. Because as long as you're not bucking the laws, it doesn't matter what tradition has been taught. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing something. It doesn't matter how long a tradition has been in the family. If it is not a law saying yay or nay, then there's nothing to talk about. But only you know that. Like I said, it's thousands of situations out there that could arise to make either you question yourself or to make me question myself, or somebody could just flat out say, hey, buddy, you know you shouldn't be doing this, or you know you shouldn't be doing that. And whatever it is, they may be correct, but you have to ask them, hey, show me that in the law. If they can go show you that in the law, then that would mean that you are breaking that law. That's how you know if something is all right or not. And now that's like the first part of it, right? But anybody out there who's been studying, you know that there are so many layers to the scripture. We know that the scriptures have been added to and taken away from. We know that our oppressors are the ones who get to decide, at least for the last 2,000 years. They are the ones who got to decide. This scripture means that. This scripture means this. They are the ones who translated all of the translations that you had. And they mistranslated a lot of stuff on purpose. Some things are harder to catch them doing than others. But anybody who's done any amount of studying, deep sea diving, you know that the Old Testament has been added to and it's been taken away from. And we also know we're not all going to agree on everything. Like it's so many scriptures, y'all, to tie in. You can't even bring them all in one video. It's just not possible. But I say that because you never know who might be coming on these videos. It could be somebody popping up over here today for the first time. They don't have any idea about any of this stuff that we're talking about. And let me say, if you are somebody who's new on this channel, I want to say welcome to you, whoever you are, wherever you are. You've come upon an Old Testament only channel over here. That means we don't believe in the New Testament. We don't believe in human sacrifice, blood sacrifice. We don't believe in nobody dying for your sins. You're going to die for your own sins if you won't stop doing them. We talk about a lot of topics over here. We talk about some things that people are afraid to talk about. Sometimes we talk about very controversial topics, which people shy away from. And we understand why people shy away from certain topics. We get it. But we're not going to do that over here. We're going to deal with it because we ain't got no choice. I live in reality, family. And when I see something wrong, I'm not allowed to sit back and pretend like I don't see it. And for the people who know, you know that the Old Testament has been tampered with. All of our books have been tampered with. That's why it's a God in the Old Testament telling you to kill innocent animals and shed their blood for forgiveness of sins. And then it's another God in the Old Testament telling you, I never told you to do that. Now, I'm not going to act like I don't see that because I see it. And I know that others of you see it too. But here's the thing. Because we know that it's been tampered with, of course, that's going to cause us to disagree on some things that we probably wouldn't have disagreed on if it wouldn't have been tampered with. But the Most High knew that they was going to do this. And you all know that the scripture's been tampered with because some of the stuff, it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, plenty of passages in the Old Testament. There is a blood God in the Old Testament telling you to murder innocent animals and to do it for forgiveness of sins. And then there's another God in the Old Testament. Jeremiah 7:22 said, I never commanded you when it comes to sacrifices or offerings when I brought you up out of Egypt. I never told you nothing about none of that. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have multiple passages saying slaughter innocent animals for their blood to get you forgiven for sins. And then multiple passages saying, I never told you that. I'm not accepting blood. You see that? Part of the Old Testament is going left, part of it's going right. A lot of Hebrews out there They're still afraid to admit that. And I get it. I get it. But your understanding is always going to be off, okay? Until you admit that. Because it's there. But I understand why some people, you act like you don't see it, even though I know you do. Because the way we've been taught, you're afraid to call that out, even though you see it. And you're not the one who put that in there, but you're afraid to call that out, even though you know it's going left and right. You can't have multiple scriptures saying kill, 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 blood, 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 and then multiple scriptures saying I never told you to do that. You can't have it that way. But most of y'all, and I know some of y'all see it, but you're just too afraid to admit it. And you know deep in your heart, you're like, man, he's right, but I can't say that. They're going to hate me. I'm saying it for you. I don't give a damn if people hate me. It means nothing to me. You know who I care about hating me? I care if the Most High God hates me or not. That's what I'm on, y'all. Israel Kingdom of Saints, what's going on, fam? Israel Kingdom of Saints says, Shalom. Bring it out, Mr. Real Talk. I'm real glad you on this vibration magic type stuff. Love when you do these magic classes. Hey, I feel you, Israel Kingdom of Saints. This stuff got to be brought out. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, check out the voodoo spell. It go back to our ancient Hebrew roots that connected to African spirituality. You know what? I keep hearing that. I'm definitely gonna have to look into that. And I've been hearing the people say that the hoodoo is not voodoo, but it's kind of, I guess, like a cousin of it. And see, here's the thing, y'all. You got to understand, for the more than 2,000 years, everything that has been taught on planet Earth has came from the Roman perspective, family. And I already know people out there, they're going to take everything that I'm saying, they're going to twist it up, and they're going to hear me say what they want me to say, okay? I'm telling y'all, we've been lied to, okay? And I know that there's Hebrews out there that can see part of the Torah is going left, part of it's going right. It started quite a stir on this channel, maybe like a year ago. It was very tumultuous over here. I brought that out over a year ago because I saw it, and I know that other people see it too, but you're going to act like you don't see it because you know how people are going to look at you, and you know how they're going to react to you when you call it out. There is a blood God in the Old Testament, softening you up, preparing you to drink Christ's blood in the New Testament. That's what the whole setup is about, y'all. All this, blood that, kill innocent animals. And then they work you up to killing innocent people. Okay? And then now they got you in the New Testament. And now you're eating somebody's body and drinking somebody's blood. It was a setup from the beginning, y'all. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, that's what the Haitians, which was, I can't really see it. Hold on. I'm thinking that they're saying Levi, but my screen is cutting off. It's saying that's what the Haitians, which was Levi, used. That goes back to when the war against the Spanish, we whipped their ass with that magic. And Leviticus 26 says the sword ain't gonna pass through our land, so it can't be wicked. And you know what? I'm gonna have to go back and read Leviticus 26 again. I do know that that the Haitians over there, the Haitians are the only so-called group of so-called black people that was able to kick the colonizers' ass. I mean, I know they making them pay for it now. You know what I'm saying? But out of all of the different clans of so-called black people who've been being oppressed, those so-called Haitians, they the only ones who I've seen that was actually able to chase them niggas up off the turf for a time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know exactly how they did it. I heard stuff about how they did it. I heard voodoo. I heard this. I heard that. Now, of course, we know any kind of ritual, any kind of spiritual activity going on that's not in the name of the Most High, of course, that would be wicked. But one thing I also know, Joshua casted lots, y'all. And I'm not going to let that go. I am not going to let that go. Joshua casted lots. And when he casted those lots, do you know that lots is a form of divination? And see, this is when we got to really put our thinking caps on, y'all, and go deep. Now, don't the scriptures tell you you're not to be involved with divination? Divination is a sin, is it not? See, that's really going to make us put our thinking caps on, y'all, and see what the hell is going on here. Divination is a sin, right? Isn't divination forbidden in the Old Testament, y'all? I'm talking to somebody out there. And I know that's why some of y'all right now, there are some people out there who are very upset with me, right? But I'm not upset with you because I know you don't understand everything that's going on right now. And there's somebody out there, probably a lot of y'all out there right now. Y'all think that I'm more wicked than ever. A lot of you already thought that I was wicked. To the ones who is, y'all know who you are. But right now, you really think, oh man, he didn't just gone off now. He didn't gone off. Even though you won't admit that Joshua was doing divination. Anybody out there who wants to think that I'm going off, I'm waiting for somebody to answer this question, family. Was Joshua going off? Because Joshua was engaged in divination. Divination is spoken against in the Old Testament, y'all. Is there anybody out there who would like to step up and say something about that? Divination is forbidden in the Old Testament. Why was Joshua doing divination, y'all? I'm trying to get everybody out there to think, fam. Sound confirmation. And I know that y'all, to the people out there who think I'm wicked right now, can you just calm down for 1 second, fam? Can you calm down for 1 second? Put your emotions to the side. Joshua was doing divination. Joshua did divination. But I thought the Old Testament said, no, that's wicked. That's sorcery, isn't it? Isn't that a warlock and a sorcery, y'all? A sorcerer? I'm talking to somebody out there. I'm talking to everybody out there. If divination is forbidden in the Old Testament, and it is. Look, that's why I'm not upset with anybody out there right now who's angry at me or you think I'm going off. I understand where you're coming from, but I also understand that you're not ready to admit that Joshua was doing divination. Or do you not understand what casting lots is? You do know that that's witchcraft. Is there anybody out there who does not understand what casting lots is? Maybe y'all don't know what casting lots is. Joshua did that. Now, they only told you about him doing it one time, but one time is enough, and he was doing it in the presence of the Most High. But I thought that divination was off limits. Huh? Hello? I thought divination was off limits, fam. I want y'all to remember that. Anybody out there who wants to say, oh, this ain't right, he talking about divination. Do you even know what casting lots is, Hebrew? That's why we got to go into this kind of stuff. Whole time, y'all think that I'm wicked. You won't even admit. It's several things that most of you won't admit. You won't even admit that Joshua was doing divination. So I know you don't want to admit that casting lots is also known as witchcraft. Is there anybody out there who doesn't know that? Maybe you never heard of casting lots before. Go look it up and then come back to me and tell me what's happening. I thought divination was forbidden, and it is forbidden in the Old Testament. That's why some of y'all want to crucify me now. Oh, he going off, talking about magic, talking about divination. Joshua was doing divination. How come nobody wants to talk about that? He was casting lots Any form of casting lots, that's magic, y'all. That's divination. Some texts even outright call it witchcraft. Joshua was doing it, and he did it in the presence of the Most High. I'm talking to somebody out there right now. This is what church has done to us, family. We don't even know what divination is. You going off? The Old Testament says no divination. Did Joshua do divination? Did Joshua cast lots, yes or no? Huh? I'm talking to somebody out there. Y'all have got to understand. Because look, y'all can flood me all day on this live stream with scriptures against witchcraft, against sorcery, against what they call it? Divination. Why was Joshua doing divination in the presence of the Most High? Is there anybody out there who's brave enough to answer that? Is there anybody out there who can answer that? Divination is evil, so Joshua was evil. Is Joshua evil? See, ain't nobody out there that crazy to say something like that, right? But niggas will call me evil, though. No divination, You ain't say that to Joshua. Oh, so Joshua can do divination. It's okay for Joshua to do divination? Did the scriptures say no divination except Joshua? Or is divination off limits, period? Y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Just like it's a blood god in the Old Testament telling you to murder innocent animals. And then it's another God that said, I don't want no blood sacrifice. You ain't sacrificing that to me. Matter of fact, I never told you to do nothing like that. You see that? You cannot have it both ways. A lot of our family can't even admit that the Old Testament has been added to and taken away from. You can't admit that. And then once you do admit that, then you would see part of the problem why a lot of the stuff we just can't agree on. Because some of the stuff shouldn't even be in there. And some of the stuff should be in there, but it's not in there. Y'all see that? These people have been playing with us for a very long time. So I just want y'all to remember that, right? Because we got to get this thing right, y'all. Anytime one of our brothers and sisters start getting close and start uncovering stuff, because the way we've been raised, because the way we've been taught, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, no divination, Why was Joshua doing divination then? And you notice whenever I bring this out, nobody ever dares to come in here and say Joshua wasn't doing divination, because you know he was doing divination. Nobody says a peep whenever I bring that up. Y'all notice that? Not a peep. But I'm going off though, huh? I'm going off though, huh? Nobody says a peep whenever I put that question out there. If divination is forbidden, and it is, why was Joshua doing it? Something don't seem off to y'all? Something don't seem off to y'all? I know you see it, but a lot of y'all, you just too afraid. And I'm not mad at you, because it's a scary subject. I'm not going to lie. Let me see. Israel Kingdom of Saints says hoodoo like the watered down version. The hoodoo, they just like hide it under other Catholic saints, but they had to the practice, but it's not wicked. Levi priest is just disguised under the voodoo. Israel Kingdom of Saints says priests, they the same as the Levite priests. That's where they got us from. West Africa. They took our practices and then put Bible, but didn't give us everything. Was hidden African spirituality. All these people do is hide stuff, lie, and steal. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, read Micah 3 and 6, Mr. Real Talk. Okay. Hey, we'll read it, we will read that. Matter of fact, we going to read that right before we watch the rest of this video. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, it talks about prophets divining. Most High cut us off from power because we was being wicked. Exactly. Exactly. And I get it, y'all. That's why, y'all, anybody who's upset with me right now, y'all, I got nothing but love for y'all right now. Because I know that y'all not doing it out of malice. You doing it because you want to make sure what you doing is right. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you, fam. You doing the right thing. But at some point, too, you also going to realize that I'm your brother and I'm not wicked. You just can't see it yet. You just can't see it yet. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, now girl Hebrew was bringing out Claromancy. I'm sorry, Gorilla Hebrew. I know he was watching, but he's just scared of what people going to think to fully bring it out. That sounds probably right. Because he already know. Everybody knows. Once you start bringing out stuff like this, hey, people are not going, they're not going to rock with you. They're not going to be feeling you. Israel Kingdom of Saints says the spells in the voodoo book they get from Moses, like Exodus 30 and 22, but the holy ointment oil. Israel Kingdom of Saints says it's used in a voodoo spell book. Interesting. King David says, nope, it's the power of the Most High. Cry out when you show the righteous man doing it, coming in the name Yah only. Just how all prophets mention no blood, but only the background people. Crazy, King David. King David says, got to ask why only the background crowd in the back, blood, blood, but all the major ones was like, nope, nope, even David. You see that? You see that? Letting you know that what? Y'all, our Old Testament, Torah, and Tanakh, and every other book that we have, it's all been infiltrated, y'all. When these people grabbed you, they grabbed everything that you own, including your Bible and every other book that we got. We got tons and tons of books, and they rifled through all of our stuff, added stuff in, took stuff out. And I know that y'all know that, but a lot of people are just too afraid to admit that. You're not the ones who did it, but yet they still have our people afraid to admit what's right in front of your face. And once again, I know that the Old Testament tells you not to do divination. You're not supposed to do it. But Joshua was doing it. That right there, you should have 1,000 questions about that. If divination is evil and it's forbidden, which it is, then why is Joshua doing it in the presence of the Most High? And why is the Most High working with him while he's doing it? See, y'all don't want to ask those questions. You just want to skip right over that and just keep on saying, no divination, no divination, even though Joshua was doing it. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, Shalom at King David. Yeah. The Vote book shows how to heal people and cast spells on your adversaries. It's all righteous witchcraft that they got from the Bible, which came from African spirituality. King David says the Torah is the way, the truth, but it's some heavy-headed niggas acting like we saying throw away the word of Yah. That's some stupid ish if they think that's what we mean. No, it's lies in it. Exactly. But we ain't throwing it out because the Most High got the spirit on us. We going to go through it and we going to use Isaiah 8 and 20, y'all. King David says, even verse they mentioned they was going to use a edit hand. You see that? This is deep, y'all. But why am I saying all that? I'm saying all that because I love the nation of Israel, and I know that this is the most huge topic that we've covered so far. I mean, this might be the hugest topic that Israel has covered in the last 2,000 years. Even though most Israel is not even trying to talk about this because they're terrified. And I get it. It's because what the churches did, y'all. And even when you go into the Bible, it tells you in the Old Testament, divination is forbidden. But in that same Old Testament shows you men of the Most High doing divination. And that don't make y'all scratch your head. See, I'm not allowed to ignore stuff like that. Maybe some people are. I don't have that luxury, family. I got to deal with this. I'm not allowed to run from this. King David says, Tob Exit, Israel Kingdom and Saints. Israel Kingdom and Saints. Let me go and get that scripture that you had said, and then we're going to watch, or we're going to listen to, should I say, part 2 of this video. You said, let me see. I hope everybody has had themselves a lovely day out there, fam. I hope everybody's had a wonderful day. All right, and let's check this out. Micah 3:6. Micah 3:6. We're going to read it in a couple of different versions. NIV. Therefore, night will come over you without visions and darkness, without divination. The sun will set for the prophets, and the day will go dark for them. Hold up, fam. Hold up, fam. Hold up. Hold up, Israel Kingdom of Saints. Did y'all just hear this? Micah 3:6. Listen to this. A shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints bringing this out. Listen to this. And this is in the Old Testament. Listen. Therefore, night will come over you without visions. The Most High is telling you he's going to darken our sight. Therefore, night will come over you without visions and darkness without divination. Whoa. That's telling you when he sent this darkness over you, he's going to have you without visions. He's going to bring darkness upon you, and you're going to be without divination. That's a punishment, letting you know that when he's with you, you have divination. Hey, yo, Israel Kingdom of Saints. I ain't never read that before, bruh. Or if I did, I glossed right over that. Hey, Israel Kingdom of Saints, I'm going to have to do a whole live. Hey, shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints, yo. Shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints, because I already knew we was barking up the right tree. I'm not going to stop. Israel Kingdom of Saints just brought this out, Micah 3:6. I don't remember seeing that before, y'all. I really don't. Maybe I read that before, but if I did, I had to gloss right over it. I do not remember seeing that. Listen to this. And you guys and gals are going to hear this many more times because I'm going to do a live stream on this very soon. Listen to this again. Look. Y'all, I can't believe this. Micah 3:6 from the NIV. Listen. Therefore, night will come over you without visions and darkness, without divination. The sun will set for the prophets, and the day will go dark for them. You know what that means? A little more than 2,000 years we've been without divination. Now the Most High turning his face back to us. And y'all, this is too powerful for a lot of us. We're just not ready for this yet. I know a lot of our people ain't never read this right here. Or if they did, they glossed right over it. Trust me, we ain't glossing over this no more. And as soon as I noticed that, I looked up at the clock. It said 4444. Hey, Israel Kingdom of Saints. Hey, bruh, you just pulled up with an 18-wheeler and dropped the whole damn back load off with that one, bruh. Why you do that, Israel Kingdom of Saints? Anybody in here right now, you should have already hit that like button, fam. And shout out to the brother Israel Kingdom of Saints. Do y'all even know what that means? It's a punishment when you were without divination. Look, the same Old Testament that told you no divination allowed It's here telling you, therefore night will come over you without visions and darkness, without divination. The sun will set for the prophets, and the day will go dark for them. Meaning you ain't got no power, you ain't got no visions, you ain't got nothing because you've been stripped. Wow. Let's check that out in the English Standard Version. Therefore it shall be night to you, without vision, and darkness to you, without divination. The sun shall go down on the prophets, and the day shall be black over them. The Berean Standard Bible. Therefore night will come over you, without visions and darkness, without divination. The sun will set on these prophets, and the daylight will turn black over them. Hey, y'all, all praises to the Most High God. Hey, Israel Kingdom of Saints, why you pull up to the live chat and drop that? You know you done started something, right? Israel Kingdom of Saints, you know you done started something, bruh. Everybody that's in here right now, you should have already hit that like button already if you hadn't. And you know what? Anybody that's in here right now just coming in, welcome to the live stream family. And if you're just coming in just now, you better go back and watch this all the way from the beginning. And also, look, y'all, I don't hold nothing personal because I know it's not personal to people that want to come against me. I know it's not. But you might want to think about recanting your stance about your brother. I'm not wicked. You're supposed to be doing divination. The fact that you don't even know that, you never read Micah 3 and 6 before. We just read it. You ain't never read it before. If you did, you would know, or you glossed right over it. But I'm not allowing nobody else to gloss over it. Shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints for pulling up with a spiritual 18-wheeler and dropping the whole damn load. Micah 3 and 6. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm going to be dreaming about that one tonight. And anybody out there who's in your heart of hearts, you've been thinking that I'm wicked. Listen, y'all, I'm not taking it personal because I know you don't understand fully what's going on. But from this day forward, you might want to reconsider. In fact, ain't no might in it. You gonna reconsider if you love the words of the Most High. If you love the words of your Most High, you're going to say, hey, Mr. Real Talk, I think I might have had it wrong. You're not wicked, brother. Let's read it again. Matter of fact, let's read it in the New King James Version. Micah 3 and 6. Therefore you shall have night without vision, and you shall have darkness without divination. That's a punishment for you. When the Most High puts darkness over you, you ain't got no divination. But when he turns his face back to you, if you can't see this, I don't know what to tell you, Hebrew. You don't want to see this. That's what that is. If you can't see this, it's because you don't want to. Somebody out there going to have a change of heart after tonight. You know what? Somebody out there is going to realize that your brother is not wicked. Talking about divination. You're supposed to have divination. Joshua had it. In the same Old Testament that's telling you no, no, no. Joshua was doing it. Moses was doing it. And right here, you see, when you can't do divination, that's because the Most High has struck you with darkness. You see that? Excuse me. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm flabbergasted right now. King David says, Ty Vex at Israel Kingdom of Saints. King David says, yeah, Mr. Real Talk, you said some real stuff. They call us wicked because we ask questions. Ain't kids supposed to ask to know and not just accept? Even Yah said, study and prove yourself. Exactly, King David. Let them know. Israel Kingdom of Saints says, all praises to the Most High. These wicked devils scared of this is telling you he took it from us, so now he gonna give us elements back to righteousness divine to work righteous divination because we keeping laws. And you know what? We could drop the mic right now and step the hell off. We sure enough could. Y'all, I hope that somebody has been edified so far. Look, and we haven't even watched the second part of that video, which we getting ready to. Well, not watch it, because there's nothing to watch. I'm going to shut my big black mouth and we just going to listen. Y'all, tomorrow's live stream, we going in. Micah 3 and 6, we going in. Tomorrow live stream, y'all. Divination. Righteous divination. It ain't nothing nobody can say now. Whoever don't like it, tough. Okay? Tough. If you don't like it, it's not my problem. It never was my problem. You're going to deal with reality. Micah 3 and 6 is an 18-wheeler. And we got other precepts too. Joshua was doing this. We got other precepts too. It ain't no way around it. Even though they're telling you not to do it in the Old Testament. On the other hand, they're telling you that it's being done by righteous men. And that when you can't do it, it's because the Most High done turned his back on you, put you to sleep. The sun went down on the prophets, so no more divination. But once the Most High turns his face back to you, what does that mean? You see that? Stop being scared. Stop being weak. We ain't playing no more games. Look, we ain't never been playing no more games. But I'm telling you, from here going forward, it's about to be full court press. Full court press. And if anybody out there got a problem with that, you're going to really have to look in the mirror. Your problem ain't with me. Your problem is you don't understand what's going on. Or maybe you do understand what's going on. You just ain't ready for it yet. Because it's clearly, now after this, Micah 3 and 6, nobody should have no more questions about divination. But guess what? Even if you do, I'm not going to get upset because we ain't stopping on this topic. We going to keep on mashing. In fact, we probably going to double down, triple down, and quadruple down. Shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints for pulling up to the live stream and dropping the whole 18-wheeler. Micah 3 and 6 is an 18-wheeler packed to the hilt. And he dropped the whole load, y'all. And also, when we go live tomorrow, I'm going to drop the link in the live chat in case anybody want to come on and want to dispute what we saying. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for all naysayers. And just know, you ain't naysaying against me. You're going against all the prophets. So if you want to go against the prophets, go ahead. And it's real funny, right? Because I know a lot of people out there, you swear up and down that I'm going off, I'm wicked, but you ain't going to deal with Micah 3 and 6. You ain't going to deal with Joshua doing divination. You ain't going to deal with none of that. Now, so what you going to do now? Just sit in the corner and pout? What can you do? You can't defeat the Most High. And the only reason why you ain't had no diviners, nobody doing magic, nobody doing divination, because the sun went down on the prophets. Darkness covered the prophets. We just read it. Anybody out there got a problem with that? Speak up right now. Speak up right now. Please. Realize, family, they've been toying with us all this time. And once we get a handle on this spiritual power, somebody getting put to death. And they know that. That's why they doing all they can to keep us separated, keep us fighting. They got half of us wanting to go into it and half of us saying, no, no divination, Do you see the error of your ways now, Hebrew? Do you see the error of your ways? I know you do. There's somebody out there watching this right now. You thought that magic and divination was evil until tonight. Wait until tomorrow when I go live. We're going to chop this thing down to the finest molecule. You wait until tomorrow when we go live. We ain't playing no games. Melissa Israel says, Isaiah 60:1 and 3. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Melissa Israel says, see, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. You know what that means? Time for divination again. You see that? Do you see that? Brit the Pit 333 says Elisha the Warrior flashed that iron yesterday. Brit the Pit, what's going on, Brit the Pit? Hey y'all, this is not a game, family. Do y'all see that though? Look, there should be, I guarantee you, pull up to the live stream tomorrow, y'all, and look, because most people don't have to go into slavery tomorrow. We're not going to wait till late in the afternoon, in the evening. We're going to go live sometime early afternoon tomorrow, and we're going to go all the way in. Anybody out there got any questions about magic divination? Oh, tomorrow is the day, family. We going all the way in. I'm sure somebody out there understands right now. After being on this live right now, you understand now divination is not evil. If you're doing it to another deity in somebody else's name other than Yahweh, of course it's evil. Of course that's evil. But Joshua was doing divination. And you just read in Micah 3 and 6. As a punishment, when darkness is over you, no visions, no prophets, no divination. That's a punishment when you can't do that. You see that? And I know you do. You don't have to admit it because I know you see it. And you know what? There's somebody out there right now, all praises to the Most High God, because I never stopped loving you, whoever you are out there, wherever you are. I know that people turned against me for a moment, but I also know that you guys and gals are very smart. There's somebody who, once you see this live, in your heart of hearts, you're going to say, you know what? Mr. Real Talk is all right. I thought that he was going off. But you know what? I see now he wasn't going off. Shout out to the Most High God and shout out to all the Israelites out there who are now going to realize that your brother is not wicked, that I'm not leading you off a cliff. You're supposed to have divination skills. And when you don't, it's because the Most High put darkness over you and he's punishing you with no visions, no divination. And I know you see it. Look, I'm just glad that you see it. I can take people thinking that I'm wicked, long as the Most High God don't think that I'm wicked. I can take men and women thinking that I'm wicked because the Most High made me tough. I got to do this, y'all. Even before people understand it, way before people get it, before they have any inkling, I have to do this. I'm not allowed to shriek away from this. I'm not allowed to not speak on it because people are going to hate my guts. It's part of the job. And that's why I don't take it personal. When people turn against me, I don't take it personal. I just know, hey, you know what? It comes with the territory. And it's not personal because I know that the most people on this channel want to do what's right. I know that. Brit the Pit says, the day of the Lord is coming. He's from the fish gate in Zephaniah 1. Elisha is the warrior. He's in Detroit. And yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, Brit the Pit. Elisha being in Detroit. I don't know nothing about that, Brit the Pit. But what I do know is divination is not wicked. Brit the Pit says, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know nothing about Elijah being in Detroit. I don't know nothing about that. Brit the Pit says, I'm sure. Oh, okay. All right. Well, family, make sure you tune into that live stream tomorrow because we're going to go all the way in on magic and divination. It ain't nowhere to run from this, y'all. And I know somebody out there, you see it now. But we're getting ready to listen to the rest of this video. Part 2 of how to control vibrations. And remember, family, I told y'all, a lot of stuff that people is calling magic is not really magic. It's deep science that people just don't understand yet. And that's what they do. They call it magic because they don't know about it. They don't know how to explain it. All right. Fair use, fair use. You're going to watch the rest of this video. It's like 40 minutes left. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. The name of this book is called Living Energy, the book to manipulate vibration. We already did part 1 like 2 days ago. This is part 2. I'm going to shut up, okay? I'm not going to say nothing. We just going to listen to the rest of this. I'm not going to say a word except for when we get ready to close out. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let's listen.
If you vibrated fear, begin to emit trust. If you vibrated scarcity, begin to emit sufficiency. If you vibrated guilt, begin to emit forgiveness, but don't declare it, live it. Make it your atmosphere. Hold that frequency for hours, days, weeks, and the field, in its obedience, will begin to return it. Because the field doesn't negotiate. It doesn't interpret. It doesn't wait. It only reflects. Everything you once vibrated left a trace. Everything you sustained is still acting. Everything you emit now will become form tomorrow. The field is the silent scribe of your soul and your life, the faithful reading of what it is written. Chapter 8. See the body as a resonant temple. Emotions sealed within organs. The body vibrates what the soul remains silent about. The body is not just a physiological mechanism or a biological machine accidentally gifted with consciousness. The body is a temple. Not symbolically or allegorically, but architecturally. An energetic design in which every organ, every nerve, every tissue, and every cell vibrates like a string tuned to the rhythm of the soul that inhabits it. Within it, the oldest vibrational decrees are manifested. Within it, the deepest secrets of embodied memory resound. There is no silence in the body. Even when we are quiet, even when we fake stillness, the body continues to emit, to feel, to record. Because the body is the first mirror of the soul. And what is not spoken, what is not processed, what is not transfigured into consciousness, stays there, encapsulated as tension, as a symptom, as fatigue, illness, or rigidity. Every unexpressed emotion does not disappear. It moves into the organ that vibrates in the same frequency and remains there, like a forgotten sheet of music still playing, like an echo still influencing, like an energetic seal that alters the flow of life force. This is not metaphor. It is vibrational law. Unprocessed fear tightens in the belly where the root of survival lies. Unreleased sorrow weighs on the chest, for the heart is not just muscle, but a magnetic knot. Unacknowledged anger coils in the back, the shoulders, the arms, for these are the parts that were meant to act, to strike, to resist. Guilt lodges in the liver, shame in the throat, lack of self-worth in the knees and feet. Thus the body becomes a map of the wounded soul, but also the instrument of its liberation. Because what was sealed can be felt, recognized, and vibrated with presence, and therefore transmuted. This is not about healing from the mind or blaming the body as if it were guilty. It is about inhabiting the body as what it truly is, an oracle. So taught the sages of the Indus Valley long before vibrational science was buried by dogma. They affirmed, the body does not become ill, it responds. The body does not fail, it communicates. In the hidden texts of the Cachemira school, the body was defined as the sacred instrument of resonance, where the light of the soul is translated into experience. This is why every part of the body has a specific vibration. Every organ resonates with an emotion. Every joint is a doorway that can open or close, depending on the frequency it holds. This isn't learned through anatomy. It is remembered through attention. What part of your body aches when you withhold a truth? Where does your flesh tighten when you lie to yourself? What part weakens when you act from a false identity? You don't need years of study. You need presence. Because when the body is truly listened to, it speaks with the truth the mind has long forgotten. What you call discomfort is often the soul trying to awaken a dormant frequency. What you label illness is often a trapped emotion waiting to be released. And what you identify as disease is often the last voice the body uses to express what could not exit in any other way. This was known by the inner alchemists, who taught that true transmutation does not begin in the mind, it begins in the flesh. To heal the soul, one must first inhabit the body in truth. The body doesn't need to be forced with discipline. It needs to be heard as an altar. It does not ask for effort, it asks for sincerity. Because only when you recognize which emotion has been sealed within can you begin to free the vibrational pattern that holds it. How is this done? Not through analysis, not through forced techniques, but through embodied presence. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to a part of your body where you feel tension, discomfort, weight, or silence. Ask inwardly, what am I feeling here that I haven't said? Don't wait for words. Wait for an image, an emotion, a memory. Acknowledge it, breathe into it, and simply allow that part to vibrate, to tremble, to open or release, because energy does not need to be understood. It needs to be felt, with consciousness. And when the body is inhabited in that way, it becomes a teacher. It no longer gets sick. It no longer screams. It simply vibrates. And when that vibration is pure, it is health. Remember this, what you silence, the body speaks. What you avoid, the body takes. What you reject, the body holds. And when you stop rejecting, avoiding, and silencing, the body begins to release. Because the soul cannot fully vibrate if the body still carries its shadow. The body is a temple, yes, but it is also an altar, an oracle, a mirror, and a gate. And when you inhabit it as such, the entire field rearranges. Chapter 9. Emotion as a secret command. It is not the word that creates, but the sustained feeling held as pure vibration. Before the universe responded to the spoken word, before the mind could conceive an image or an articulated thought, there was already a primordial emotion vibrating, not as a psychological reaction, but as an ordering force, a living intention, a radiant pulse of the soul that shapes the subtle realms with geometric precision. The great esoteric traditions of antiquity, the ones that left no visible temples, only records etched in the ether and in the blood of the initiates. Did they know this? Undoubtedly. Emotion is the first creative language. Not superficial affection, not profane sentimentality, but a sustained vibratory pulse impressed upon the field of existence, determining what becomes visible and what remains hidden. Words can lie, images can shift, thoughts can be deceived, but sustained emotion is irrevocable, not because the universe punishes, but because the universe obeys the deepest pattern. And that pattern is not expressed in phrases, but in continuous vibration. A vibration not spoken by the mouth, but emitted by the soul. This vibration is pure emotion, uncontaminated by inner conflict, undivided by opposing beliefs, unfragmented by contradictions. In the Book of Enoch, whose text was veiled for centuries and preserved only in Ethiopian and Slavic codices, it is written, "And it was given to the children of men the art of moving the earth with their emotion, and commanding the stars with the vibration of their soul." This teaching, excluded from the canon for its dangerous potency, reveals the essential: emotion is not an effect, but a vibratory cause. What you feel in totality shapes the world, not from desire, but from the non-verbal decree of your inner state. That is why it is not enough to think about what you want, to declare it, or even to visualize it. You must feel it as a vibrational truth. Feel it, not once, not as a fleeting impulse, but as a habitual frequency, an energetic atmosphere that does not fade when you are silent or at rest. The universe does not listen to your phrases, it listens to your field, and that field does not respond to logic or spoken intention. It responds to the emotion you emit without even realizing it. So taught the initiates of the underground schools of Axum, where no mantras were recited, but where vibrational sustenance was practiced. They said, "The one who maintains joy in the presence of chaos is the master of the plane." Not because he suppresses, but because he has learned to vibrate from the center, not from reaction. Emotion as command is not enforced through force. It is not faked with enthusiasm. It is not programmed by mechanical repetition. It is held with purity, and that purity is not moral, but resonant. A pure emotional field is one in which the frequency vibrates without interference, where what is felt does not contradict what is thought or what is said. It is an invisible coherence that penetrates everything. And what happens when you sustain an emotion in coherence? Matter responds, not as a miracle, but as a vibrational correspondence. Elements rearrange, bodies heal, relationships recalibrate, opportunities align, not because you are lucky, but because you have become the emitting node of an unshakable frequency. This was known by the alchemists of Mount Ararat, who taught that every emotion sustained through 42 breaths without contradiction creates an etheric seal, a vibrational inscription that begins to reorganize the disposition of the elements. They said what you sustain with purity becomes sacred geometry, but the opposite is also true. When you sustain contaminated emotions, guilt disguised as humility, fear disguised as prudence, lack disguised as desire, you imprint confused patterns into the field. And these patterns are obeyed with the same precision as the pure ones. Because the universe does not distinguish between true and false, it distinguishes between coherence and contradiction. This is why so many people experience outcomes that oppose their intentions, not because they fail, not because they are unworthy, but because their dominant emotions contradict their conscious desires, and the universe, which responds only to the strongest frequency, returns what is sustained, not what is declared. So how do you transform emotion into a conscious command? First, by recognizing that emotion is not a passive state, it is an emission. Second, by understanding that every emotion can be held steadily. Third, by choosing an emotion aligned with what you want to live. And finally, by training both body and soul to emit it without interruption, not as an act, not as denial, but as a manifestation of power. Peace, for instance, is not the absence of conflict. It is a vibratory presence. Joy is not euphoria, it is certainty. Dignity is not pride, it is structural clarity. And when those emotions are sustained without dependence on external circumstances, they become silent commands that the universe cannot disobey. So practice. Choose a single emotion you want to use as your command today. Don't force it. Feel it. Remember a moment when you already lived it. Breathe into it. Walk in it. Speak from it. Hold that vibration for 5 minutes, then for an hour, then for a whole day. And observe. Do not wait for results. Just observe how the world begins to organize itself around you, because the universe does not respond to requests. It responds to vibrational states, and that state is signed not by your words, but by your emotions. You do not create what you say. You create what you feel is true, even if unspoken, because emotion is the command that gives the order before the word is ever pronounced. Chapter 10. The quantum field as a mirror of emission. The world does not respond, it reflects. The field does not evaluate, it obeys. There is no external will shaping the destiny of men. There is no divine judgment that determines their fortune, nor is there blind chance drawing their path. The life you experience, every scene that unfolds in time, every face you encounter, every repeated circumstance, is nothing but the reverberation of an invisible field that surrounds and penetrates us, the quantum field. This field is not a theory, it is not a symbol. It is a subtle and vibrational substance, alive, sensitive, and obedient. Within it, the emissions of the soul are inscribed, not as passive records, but as act.
Now, I said I wasn't going to stop, but I got to give a disclaimer. This guy said there is no divine judgment. Look, that's BS, okay? We all know, of course, these heathens, they're going to put some truth out there, but then they always got to throw a curveball, just like everything. Of course, there's going to be a divine judgment. But all that other stuff he said is true, but he had to throw that in there. Now, he doesn't know that because nobody knows the kind of stuff that the Israelites knows. Okay? That's just what it is. A lot of these heathens out there, they're way off about a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to the one who the world calls God. They're way off. This guy just said there's no ultimate divine judgment. If all this other stuff he's saying is true about vibration, this guy's so smart, but he doesn't understand that the very vibration, every vibration has a creator. And the Most High God is the creator of vibration, period. But this guy's so smart, he doesn't know that, but we do. Okay? You chew in the meat, you spit out the bones. Everything else he's saying is on point. I had to bring that out because somebody may be watching, or should I say listening, hear everything that this guy's saying, because everything he's saying is true, except the part about there being no divine judgment or no stuff like that. Around here, we know that that's BS. Okay? We know that. That guy, he doesn't have to know that because he's not us. But we know that. And I had to pull up and give that quick disclaimer. Now back to the regular scheduled program.
Active molds that organize matter. The field does not reason. It does not interpret. It does not assess. The field obeys, and it obeys the dominant vibrational emission sustained by the soul. Not superficial desire, not words spoken without conviction, not images projected with hunger. The field responds only to what is emitted with permanence, within a coherence, with embodied certainty. This principle was known in the remote ages by every mystery school that received its knowledge from the primordial light. The Aryans of Imabat, the sages of Herido, the prophets of the desert, all of them agreed on the essential truth. The world does not respond, it reflects. Life does not happen to you, it happens from you. There is no outside without inside, no destiny without emission, no response without a signal. The universe makes no decisions for you. It does not weigh your merit or measure your morality. It reflects with absolute fidelity the vibrational pattern emitted from the core of your being, even when you are unaware of it. This is why so many say they seek healing, yet sustain the frequency of illness. They proclaim freedom, yet vibrate from fear. They declare abundance, yet emit scarcity. And the field, which can only return exactly what it receives, materializes the dominant frequency, not the noblest thought or the purest intention. Everything is a mirror, not as an inspirational metaphor, but as a structural law of the universe. Just as light, when it strikes a polished surface, returns at the precise angle of incidence, life too reflects back to you, without distortion, the internal image you hold. There is no form that wasn't preceded by emission, no experience that didn't begin as frequency. Once you understand this, you stop waiting, you stop stealing, you stop blaming, and you claim the inner power to observe your own field. What am I truly projecting? What image vibrates behind my words? What emotion have I held so long that I don't even know I'm emitting it? This act of self-inquiry is not psychological, it is vibrational. It is not about thinking better, it is about feeling from a different place. The quantum field is not neutral, but neither is it whimsical. It does not decide, it only reflects. It does not reward, it only reorganizes. And it does so with such precision that the patterns you repeat in your life are direct proof of the vibration you have yet to transmute. This is why everything emitted returns. This is why time is the stage upon which vibration takes form. And this is why changing your life requires changing the frequency projected from your core. Not the words you use, nor the ideas you hold intellectually. To alter the mirror, you do not break the reflection. You change the source of the emission. The real work is not outward, it is toward the center. And this center is not metaphysical or abstract. It is a real point of energetic emission, a radiant core found at the place where the soul and the body intertwine. From there, everything you are is broadcast as a continuous signal. And that signal shapes matter, organizes relationships, aligns opportunities, and even attracts the challenges your frequency permits. Do you wish to change your external experience? Don't affirm, don't declare. First, listen to the field you are already emitting. Observe the repetitions, hear the patterns. Pay attention to the symptoms, contemplate the architecture of your days. Because that is the mirror. And the mirror does not lie, and the mirror does not give opinions, it only reflects. This realization is liberating, but also demanding. It demands constant presence, it demands energetic responsibility. It demands abandoning the illusion that the world owes you something, and beginning to live as what you truly are. The sole emitter responsible for your field. So cultivate the frequency you wish to see reflected. Do it not as a mental practice, but as a vibrational habit. Live in gratitude if you desire expansion. Live in peace if you desire order. Live in sufficiency if you desire fulfillment. And sustain that vibration without waiting for external validation. Because the field does not respond to hope. It responds to consolidated vibrational identity. And when that identity is clear, firm, and incoherent, the field reorganizes itself without delay. This is how what once seemed miraculous becomes manifest. Not by chance, not as a reward, but through correspondence. What you project returns. What you sustain becomes law. What you emit takes form. The field does not forget. The field does not deny. The field only returns. Chapter 11, Visualization Without Hunger, the Hermetic Science. He who sees with urgency invokes lack. He who visualizes with certainty summons form. Not every inner vision is creative. Not all imagining is an act of magic. To visualize is not to fantasize, to escape, or to desire with overwhelming emotional intensity. To visualize in its purest and most operative sense is to emit an inner image, as if it were already real, without need, without hunger, without anxiety, because the tool does not manifest what it begs for, but what it recognizes as its own. The Hermetic principle governing creative visualization lies not in the strength of desire, but in the purity of the vibratory hold. What you see internally does not produce form because you long for it, but because you behold it from an identity that already inhabits it. When vision is contaminated by urgency, the resulting emission is not creation, but reinforcement of the void. And the obedient quantum field reflects not what you ask for, but what you project as atmosphere. This is what the initiates of Zosimus of Panopolis taught in the silent halls of Alexandrian Hermeticism. Do not see with the eye of desire, see with the eye that shapes. For desire screams the absent, but pure vision vibrates the present. This does not imply indifference, but vibrational detachment. It means that to create from vision, you must see what you desire as if it already is, not as something that could come if you do the right thing. This is the forgotten science of hermetic visualization. Align the feeling with certainty, not with hope. The error of modern minds is turning visualization into an anxious ritual, a desperate plea disguised as positivity. But any visualization that begins with, "I don't have it," inscribes itself in the field as lack. And that lack, even if dressed in enthusiasm, is reflected faithfully.
The long fence sign says more than just.
Hey, y'all, this is some heavy stuff right here. And look, most people, of course, they're going to call this magic, right? Y'all do know that this is really science. I'm going to keep on telling y'all, for the most part, all magic really is just deep science that people just don't understand. I'm not making this up. Like this video, share this video, and listen up, Hebrew.
Because the universe does not listen to your images, it listens to the vibration with which you hold them. To visualize with hunger is to insist on what is missing. To visualize with certainty is to hold what already vibrates as truth. This was understood in the silenced Gnostic schools, where they did not teach how to ask, but how to remember the internal scene that the soul already knows on another plane. There, they taught to enter a vibratory state where time collapses and the image is no longer a possibility, but an emanation, because the soul does not imagine the future. The soul remembers what already vibrates on another level of its field, and by remembering it without resistance, it precipitates it into the physical plane.
Yeah, hear this?
This is the secret hinted at in the Gospel of Philip when it says, "Faith is the form of gold before the fire." What is already lived internally with silent conviction is ordered externally without struggle. Because the universe does not react to desire, it responds to the consolidated vibratory structure. So as you visualize with power, do not imagine with Philip when it says, "Faith is the form of gold before the fire." What is already lived internally with silent conviction is ordered externally without struggle. Because the universe does not react to desire, it responds to the consolidated vibratory structure. So as you visualize with power, do not imagine with anxiety, do not force an image, do not dramatize the longing, but gently enter a simple, stable, habitual scene where you already live what you desire. Not a celebration, not an extraordinary outcome, but a transformed normality. For example, do not imagine the moment when you finally achieve something. Imagine an ordinary day where that is already integrated. How do you breathe in that life? What do you do when you wake up? What no longer worries you? What do you feel as you walk? It is not about seeing something ideal, but about feeling something natural. And there lies the science. When the body vibrates as if it already lived that image, the field changes coordinates because the quantum field does not respond to the content of the image, but to the vibratory state from which you hold it.
Yeah, hear
To
this?
visualize is not to send an order. It is to inhabit a frequency code. That is why the wise men of the desert taught, "He who sees from need extends the journey."
Now hold up. Who you think those wise men from the desert are? Did y'all hear what he said? Do y'all hear what this guy is saying?
To visualize is not to send an order. It is to inhabit a frequency code. That is why the wise men of the desert taught, "He who sees from need extends the journey. He who sees from joy summons without asking, for need repels, but vibratory identity attracts."
Wow.
And this is the most precise teaching. It is not you who must attract the form. It is the form that cannot avoid precipitating itself when you already vibrate as it does. This is how the true magician visualizes in silence, in coherence, in certainty. He does not imagine to obtain. He remembers what already is, and by remembering it, He summons it without stealing. Practice. Today, close your eyes and imagine a scene. Do not ask for anything. Do not invoke anything. Just feel how your body behaves if what you desire already is. What tone does your voice have? What space does your energy occupy? Stay there, and then live the day as if you had already returned from that place. Not as theater, but as resonance, because the universe does not respond to the image, it responds to the one who holds the image without tremor. Chapter 12, The Silence That Orders, the Art of the Dictum Conditum. To order is not to command, it is to align. The pure verb is incarnated geometry. Not every word creates, not every verb carries fire. Only the verb that has been gestated in inner silence, nourished by pure emotion, fine-tuned by vibratory identity, and launched from the core without contradiction, becomes dictum with dictum. The incarnated word that requires no effort, that does not beg, that does not waver, that orders without violence. The universe does not respond to the shout, it responds to the frequency, and that frequency is not modulated in speech, but in the internal state. Therefore silence precedes the true creative act, and only from silence can one create a verb that does not divide. The ancient sages of the Chaldean lineage, whose science was buried by successive empires but preserved in nameless manuscripts, taught that to order is not to impose, but to remember. To remember the perfect form, to remember the original design, to remember the state in which matter obeyed without resistance. For the world does not need to be convinced, the world is waiting to be aligned. The dictum conditum is the art of speaking when there is no longer separation between what is said, what is felt, what is believed, and what is. When the verb is not will, but emanation. When the sound is merely the projection of a geometry already established in the field, when one is no longer seeking to provoke an effect, but to manifest a frequency that cannot help but become form. This verb born of vibratory silence does not repeat. It does not need reinforcement. Once pronounced from the center, it is enough to alter the configuration of the environment. This is how the ancient prophets acted. They did not beg, they did not negotiate. They said rise, and the form obeyed. They said open, and the field reordered, not by privilege, but because they emitted without distortion. The key was not in the word, but in the vibratory state from which the word emerged. And that state can only be reached in silence, not physical silence, but structural silence. The internal cessations, the stillness of the mind that no longer fears, the calm of emotion that no longer interferes, the alignment of the soul that no longer doubts. That silence is the matrix of the pure verb, and the pure verb does not declare, it reveals. It does not create from nothing, it calls from the form that already exists in the subtle dimension. The wise men of northern Mesopotamia said, "The word that comes from hunger drags shadow. The word that comes from the center generates worlds, and that is why dictum with dictum is not magic. It is vibratory geometry incarnated in sound, a frequency that has been held without fissure and that, when pronounced, acts not as a request but as law. Thus, to order is not to command, but to allow the form that already vibrates in the soul to imprint itself upon matter. And that is only possible when the verb is the legitimate child of silence. Do you want your word to create? Then do not repeat. Align. Align your emotion. Align your identity. Align your vibratory memory. And from that axis, let the verb be born without effort, without urgency, without the need to be heard. Because the true verb does not need to be believed to be fulfilled, it only needs to be pronounced from being. And the one who pronounces from being does not beg, does not demand, does not dramatize, he simply says. And what is said is, Chapter 13, The Signal and the Correction, the universe as instructor. What repeats is vibrational instruction. There is no randomness. There is echo. Those who still see the events of their lives as a series of random, disconnected, or whimsical happenings remain asleep under the deepest veil. Because in the universe, nothing is random. Everything is vibrational. Nothing happens just because, but because it was emitted. Everything that manifests first manifested as the echo of a previous pulse, as a loving correction of a deviation, as guidance back to the original frequency. The universe does not teach with words, does not correct with punishments, does not educate with doctrines. The universe reflects, and when the signal you emit is not aligned with your essential design, that signal distorts in the field, and that distortion returns as a repeated circumstance, persistent blockage, recurring pain, repeated loss, or cyclical attachment. Not as a condemnation, but as a vibrating mirror that never stops telling you, this is what you are emitting, this is what you are tolerating, this is what you must align. There is no external destiny that decides for you. There is no higher entity that determines your life course as if you were a puppet of its decrees. The signal you yourself hold is the only law that organizes your experience. The ancients taught that repetition is not karma, it is instruction. The circumstance that returns is not punishment, it is a mirror. The pain that insists is not injustice, it is a vibrational clue. And if the universe keeps showing you a form, it is not because it has become blind, but because you have not changed the emission that summons it. Thus taught the wise of the Melchizedek lineage, every form that persists is the response to an unrecognized frequency, and every unrecognized frequency transforms into a loop. And the loop is not broken by will, it is broken by vibrational consciousness, by changing the signal. You stumble over the same attachments, travel the same internal landscapes, even though you change your surroundings. The same obstacles chase you, though you swear you've learned. Then you are not condemned, you are being instructed. The universe will not cease reflecting the signal you hold until you modify its frequency at the core of your emission. And when that frequency changes, reality rearranges effortlessly. Not because you deserve it, not because now you understand it, but because there is no longer any resonance with the previous pattern. The signal is law, and any law that is not observed becomes a disguised teacher. The ancient soul does not need so much to speak to itself as to listen to what it lives. And every experience that seems to come from the outside is in truth a wave of return. That is correction. It is teaching without voice. And here lies the difference between the sleeping seeker and the conscious traveler. The sleeping one believes that life strikes them. The conscious one understands that life speaks to them. And when they listen, they give thanks. Not because they like the reflection, but because they have remembered that the reflection is the key. It is not about enduring what hurts. It is about reading the pattern that sustains it, and from there, transmuting it. That is why the initiates of the Rothano said, when something happens 3 times, it is not a mistake, it is instruction. And when something happens 3 times, it is not punishment, it is misaligned vibration. Every signal is an opportunity for vibrational correction, and every correction, if attended to without judgment or stubbornness, opens a new node of evolution. Do you want to know what you are emitting? Look at your reality, not your words, not your intentions, your atmosphere, your repetitions, your attachments.
It will save us the time.
Are y'all listening to this, family? This is pretty deep, pretty heavy, and it's reality. The vibrational world and the frequency world is invisible, but the amount of frequencies and vibrations that are out there are infinite. These stations, because that's what they are, stations, just like radio stations, you tune to it just like a vibration, just like a frequency. These frequencies already exist. It's just that we haven't resonated to those different frequencies yet. The frequencies are infinite. They already exist. Just like radio stations. Before you turn to a particular station, that station already exists. You're just not tuned in. Once you tune your inner vibration to these stations, your life will immediately reflect because you changed the station. This is heavy, y'all.
Your predominant signal is...
We got about 10 more minutes left, y'all. If you have not hit the like button already, hit the like button. Share this video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Also, we going live tomorrow. Since we ain't got to go into slavery, a lot of us ain't got to go. We're going to do the live early in the afternoon tomorrow. And it's going to be going straight for the throat. We going in tomorrow on Divination. Hit this like button. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. This is some deep stuff right here about this vibration stuff, y'all. Frequencies. Can't make any of this up. As soon as me get this station switch in our innermost person, you change this frequency, change the vibration, your life is immediately going to reflect that immediately. Just like when you ride in the car and you change the radio station. The station reflects that as soon as you change it. But not many people are even aware of vibrational switch and changing frequencies. Most people are not even aware of this kind of stuff, y'all. We got about 10 more minutes.
Revealed with absolute clarity. And if you don't like what you see, don't flee. Without judgment or stubbornness, opens a new node of evolution. Do you want to know what you are emitting? Look at your reality, not your words, not your intentions, your atmosphere, your repetitions, your attachments. There, your predominant signal is revealed with absolute clarity. And if you don't like what you see, don't flee from the form, change the frequency. The universe never stops responding, but its response is not moral, it is quantum. It does not reward, it reflects. It does not punish, it returns. And when you return a purified, aligned, and firm signal, the field no longer has reasons to repeat the lesson. Then the form changes, not by luck, not by miracle, but because the geometry of the soul has been restored. Chapter 14, The Shadow as Hidden Programmer. What you do not name governs you. The unconscious is not passive, it is an active emitter. Long before the soul incarnates in a body, it has already drawn a vibrational map. This map, which in its purest form is the geometry of essential will, distorts in the dense plane due to unredeemed forces, unseen frequencies, and hidden aspects of consciousness that continue to emit without permission, without control, and most importantly, without being recognized. This collection of unrevealed contents, unintegrated powers, unacknowledged traumas, and unexpressed emotions was named the shadow by the ancient schools. And this shadow is not an evil energy. It is simply an unrecognized vibration that continues to act as a programmer of your energetic field. The modern mistake has been to reduce the unconscious to a passive file, a dark warehouse where unprocessed experiences are deposited. But in truth, the unconscious is an active emitting core, a source of constant vibration that shapes reality as strongly as conscious thought. The shadow creates not because you want to sabotage yourself, but because everything that vibrates emits, and everything that emits orders. And what you do not name from consciousness, you name from omission. What you choose not to look at, you project, and what you project from unconsciousness becomes errant destiny. That is why the ancients did not fear the darkness. They interrogated it, did not flee from their ghosts, they gave them a name. As the Egyptian initiates said in the texts never transcribed into Greek, there is no shadow that does not hold a verb, and there is no verb that cannot be pronounced from the purified soul. To name is not to declare. To name is to illuminate the pattern, and what is illuminated loses its autonomous power. The shadow, then, is not the enemy. It is an unmonitored programmer. And like every programmer, it writes orders. Orders of attachment, orders of failure, orders of loss, orders of self-sabotage. And these orders are not emitted with phrases. They are emitted with internal images, automatic emotions, bodily tensions, and unchallenged identity structures. The soul, when it neglects its shadow, turns it into the architect of the field. And that field, as we already know, does not distinguish between the conscious and the unconscious. It only reflects what it receives. That is why many life stories they do not wish, repeat patterns they do not understand, suffer attachments they did not choose. And when they ask, why is this happening to me? The answer is not on the surface. The answer is in the shadow that was not named. And how is the shadow named? Not with judgment, not with drama, not with discursive therapy. It is named from the core. It is named with the fire of neutral consciousness. It is given a face, a sound, a form, and then it is integrated as part of the original design. Because every shadow is potential fallen power, and every fallen power waits to be rescued from the unconscious and aligned with the higher purpose. Thus, the sages of the ancient Chaldean tradition understood every personal demon is a virtue without use, every sabotage, a power without direction. The shadow is not destroyed, it is reprogrammed. And to reprogram it, one must dialogue with it. What part of me believes it cannot? What emotion prevents me from maintaining the vibrational order? What internal image continues speaking to me from the past? These questions are not made with the mind, they are made with vibrational attention, and the soul answers, the shadow reveals, and what was hidden becomes available energy. Because the unconscious, far from being a prison, is an inexhaustible source of creative emission, as long as its content has been transmuted into conscious presence. What you do not name programs you, what you name aligns, and what you integrate becomes a tool for manifestation. The true magician does not repress their shadow. They face it head on, offer it their light, and turn it into the invisible column of their vibrational temple. Chapter 15, the final door, the mind as the potter of the cosmos. Everything returns, everything responds. The mind does not think, it shapes destiny. There is no silence in the universe, only frequencies unheard. There is no inertia, only uncomprehended emission. The entire cosmos is a network of resonances, a living matrix where every vibration finds its mirror, every impulse its reflection, and every thought its corresponding manifestation. In this great fabric, the mind is not merely a container of ideas or a logical faculty. It is the invisible potter of destiny, the shaper of form, the configurator of the field. There is no reality that has not first been molded in the furnace of the mind. There is no event that has not sprouted as a figure from the invisible mold of a sustained thought form. There is no matter that is not at its root a condensed idea. And not all ideas suffice, not all thoughts are enough. Only that which is sustained with pure frequency, stable emotion, and undivided certainty descends from the abstract plane to the concrete plane, from the manifested mental world. For the mind, when it is not unified, does not create, it contradicts. And when it contradicts, it does not shape, it fragments. And the fragmented returns as chaos, repetition, and confused echo. Thus, the initiates from the Valley of the Double Moon taught, thought without axis is clay without form, but thought with certainty is the seal the field imprints. The mind is not useful for what it analyzes, it is creator for what it consolidates, because the universe does not respond to isolated thought, but to the continued mental emission that vibrates with structural coherence. Thus, to think is not to think. To think is to shape. To think is to emit. To think is to sow structures in the ether that the obedient field transforms into forms, events, connections, and scenarios. The mind, then, is the final door of the creative process, because it is in it that all previous forces converge. The sustained emotion, the vibratory identity, the internal image, the spoken word, the redeemed shadow. All of this arrives at the mind as the center of synthesis, and from there, the total emission is launched. An emission that can only return, for what you send out returns, what you project becomes concrete. What you model with your mind is not only your reality, it is your lineage, your work, and your temple. And the quantum field, perfectly neutral, infinitely obedient, does nothing but return the exact echo of your predominant mental form. Thus the return is law. The law of return is not moral, it is not judgment, it is spiritual physics, it is energetic architecture. What you think with emotion, with certainty, and with aligned internal image transforms into a sequence that the universe reproduces without delay, and not to punish or reward you, but because it cannot do otherwise. The mind is then the brush of the soul, and the universe is the canvas. But there is no canvas without stroke, no form without design. And the design begins in the subtle space where your thought becomes structured vibration. That is why the ancient Hermetic sages, before pronouncing any word, purified their minds for entire days, because they knew that a single mental image, sustained with stable emotion, could change the geometry of their surroundings for generations. And that power was not reserved for the chosen. It was the power of every human being who remembers who they are and understands that thought is not a luxury, nor a fire, nor an intellectual exercise. It is a creative tool, a frequency of molding, a flame that once cast seeks matter to incarnate and always incarnates. That is why there is no deeper error than thinking without direction. There is no more lethal neglect than holding internal images of lack, doubt, guilt, or self-condemnation. Because the field does not decipher your intention, it deciphers your frequency. And your frequency is defined by what you think when no one is watching, by what you hold when you no longer speak, by what you emit when you no longer pretend. Thus the return is the ultimate test, the exact measure of your emission, and the most noble mirror of the soul, not to make you fear, but to make you assume. The mind does not rest. There is no pause in its emission. Therefore, everything you hold within it, even without words, eventually becomes a lived reality. What you think today is the atmosphere of your tomorrow. What you model now is the structure of your year. And what you emit without vigilance is the silent architecture of your next destiny. That is why this is the final chapter, not because it is the end, but because it is the origin of everything that is to manifest. The mind is the crucible. The mind is the door. The mind is the source code of form. And you, ancient soul, have remembered that you are not here to see what happens. You are here to decide what you emit and assume what you receive, because everything returns, and you are the cause. Amen.
Hey, fam, did you hear that? I'm going to tell you right now, that dude was dropping gems the whole time. And look, y'all, I know we are the Hebrews, but did you know this is for any human being that's out there? Now, if you a Hebrew Israelite, of course, yours will be amplified. That's just the way it works. But even non-Hebrews can do this. They've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. The people that know about this. How do you think some of your most successful people, entrepreneurs, business owners, inventors, all of that, how do you think that some of these people were able to do some of these things? I'm telling you, a lot of these people know about this kind of stuff. We pulling up late to the game. But see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter once you pull up. Once the Hebrews pull back up, and all of this information, believe it or not, it comes from us. But we lost ourselves, y'all, for a long, long, long time, y'all. We got to remember who we are. This is our stuff, y'all. All of the nations have had our stuff, whether it's biblical information, secular information, all kinds of information. We had it first. It was ours. Okay. And because we didn't do what we were supposed to do, we lost everything, from all of our books, from all of our information, to all of our lands. Lost it all. And now in these end times, the Most High is definitely turning his face back to us, y'all. We can see that. This dude dropped a load of information. This was part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch part 1. It was pretty deep. All of this vibrational frequency stuff is not hocus pocus, scary stuff. It's real life, practical science, if you can receive it. And to be honest, even if you can't receive it, you're not going to stop it from being true. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Everything on planet Earth vibrates. Whether that's a cup, a table, a shoe, you, your body, your organs, the animals, your food, everything. Your thoughts. Remember, I keep on telling y'all, all around you is invisible matter. Air and oxygen all around you has invisible matter and all kind of stuff in it. That stuff can hear you. It can hear your thoughts, your vibrations. And that's why at some point it's going to come back to you. That's why I made that video earlier today. I went live talking about your thoughts. Go back and watch the live from early this morning, y'all. And most high willing, we'll be going live tomorrow. Shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints, y'all. Anybody who's on this live stream right now, if you didn't see the whole live stream, go back and watch from the beginning, y'all. You missed some stuff. And also, shout out to Israel Kingdom of Saints. Pulled up early in the live stream with a spiritual 18-wheeler and dropped off a whole load. Micah 3 and 6. And boy, was it an explosion. Boy, was it an explosion. Tomorrow we going in on this divination stuff, y'all. We going in. And since I don't have slavery tomorrow, thank the Most High, I actually get a day off tomorrow. I'm going to do the live early afternoon. We ain't going to wait until late. We're going to do it early afternoon so that I can also get back to resting and get ready for slavery. But yeah, all praises to the Most High God, y'all, for revealing all kind of stuff. This information on this live stream tonight was heavy. This audio book that we listened to was heavy. Brothers was dropping scriptures. Israel Kingdom of Saints. King David was dropping scriptures. Y'all, it's no way around it, y'all. There's no way around it. Divination is righteous when it's done under the Most High. And I know y'all see it now. I know you see it. Anybody who was here for this whole entire live stream, and even if you wasn't, if you go back to the beginning and you watch all the way come back up to now, you're going to see righteous divination is definitely in the house. Okay? And that's the way it's supposed to be when the Most High turns his face back to you. And if you're not able to do righteous divination, that means that the Most High still got his face turned against you. And so trust me, we're going to bring it all out tomorrow, Most High willing. J.R. Meadow says, thumbs up, people. That's right. Brit the Piss says, real, I hate when you say that, laugh out loud. Oh, what you talking about? Hey, when I say what, Brit the Pit? But yeah, family, y'all be on the lookout tomorrow. Live stream gonna be early afternoon. I'll at least try to give y'all an hour heads up. I'll probably drop something in the community post to let y'all know, hey, in an hour we going live, but we gonna do it early, and we gonna go in. Oh, Brit the Pit says slavery. Hey, yeah, you hate when I say it. Hey, I hate when I have to do it. Because that's exactly what it is. 9 to 5 ain't nothing but slavery. It's paid slavery. And the way that they treat you, the things you got to do, and the uncertainty from day to day, oh, it's definitely slavery. Yep. But all praises to the Most High and Him alone. I thank everybody for pulling up, showing up. And Most High willing, I'll see y'all tomorrow on that live. We going in. Enjoy the rest of y'all night, fam. I'm out.